not a game, it's a rich thing.
Hello guys, today in this video, we're going to help you to find out the best camera for photography and market. I made this list based on my personal opinion, and I tried to list them based on their quality, durability, customer review, and more. If you want to see their price and find out more information about them, you can check our links in the description below.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Number 10. Nikon Z9. If you want a camera that does it all, then the Nikon Z9 is hard to beat. Its gargantuan body with vertical grip is built like a tank and makes light work of heavy use for the likes of sports and wildlife photography, while its two-way tilting touchscreen is perfect for multi-angle shooting. At launch, the Z9 was very much a landmark camera, the first pro camera to ship with no mechanical shutter, plus its stacked sensor boasts unmatched sensor readout speeds. It's been improved too, via major firmware updates. Filmmakers can enjoy a candy store of capabilities. Besides 8K/60p and 4K slow-mo at 120 fps, it serves up sharp oversampled 4K video, together with lengthy 125-minute recording times and reliable IAF tracking. We found that image quality from the 45.7 MP stacked CMOS sensor was superlative, with huge cropping potential, aided by superb image stabilization. Number 9. Canon EOS R5. If you see the Canon EOS R5 as a pro stills model with some impressive video features, then it's one of the best cameras the photography giant has ever made. There's no doubt it has video limitations compared to a rival like the Sony A7's ID, particularly for shooting longer clips. But after our review, we found it great for anyone looking to shoot mind-blowing stills in almost any situation, whether that's wildlife or studio work. It's a hugely impressive achievement. Particularly worthy of mention is the EOS R5's autofocus, which we found offers very accurate and reliable subject detection and tracking, particularly when it comes to people or animals. You also get a superb 5.76 million pixel EVF, a body design that will be comfortably familiar to those coming from DSLRs, and the ability to shoot bursts at 12 fps with the mechanical shutter or 20 fps with the electronic equivalent. The video performance, while limited to relatively short bursts, remains superior to the likes of the Nikon Z7 and Sony A9II. With a growing collection of, albeit pricey, RF lenses, the Canon EOS R5 is the next-gen mirrorless camera that pro photographers have been waiting for. Number 8. Fujifilm Instax Mini 12. When it comes to photo quality, the Fujifilm Instax Mini 12 can't compete with present company. But if you want an instant camera that's affordable, easy to use, and fun to shoot with, we think the Mini 12 is a winner. Building on everything we loved about the Instax Mini 11, it makes it simple for beginners to create small but vibrant printed snaps. The Mini 12 benefits from parallax correction, which we found a useful addition. It means what you see when framing is closer to what gets printed. Fujifilm has also repositioned the exposure sensor to get more accurate readings, although we found that the Mini 12 still overexposes in bright sunlight. We did find its design a little slippery to handle, but the lens controls are even more intuitive than before. You turn on the Mini 12 by twisting its lens, or activate the close-up mode by pulling it. This straightforward setup makes it even more appealing for parties and kids, especially when you factor in the affordable cost of film refills. Number 7. Nikon D3500. This list is dominated by mirrorless cameras, but if you still prefer the benefits of DSLRs, namely their handling, superior battery lives, and value, then we think the Nikon D3500 is the best one around for beginners. Taking the bait from the hugely successful Nikon D3400, it brings a 24MP APS-C sensor and an incredible 1,550-shot battery life that beats the stamina of most mirrorless cameras by about 3 times. The useful guide mode is there to walk beginners through creating effects like a blurred background, while the Nikon DX system has a vast array of lenses. If you're starting out, we'd recommend buying the D3500 with the AFP DX 1855mm /3.5 to 5.6 GVR lens, as it brings handy vibration reduction for very little extra cost. Those looking for a travel-friendly camera should still consider mirrorless alternatives like the Fujifilm X-T200 and Canon EOS M50 Mark I. But otherwise, this remains a brilliant way to learn the photographic basics and start your new hobby. Number 6. Fujifilm X100V. On paper, the Fujifilm X100V should make sense. A compact camera styled like something from the 50s, with a fixed 23mm/2 lens and a premium price tag. Yet the model's predecessors have become iconic among street photographers, and the X100V follows in their spirit. Understated and timeless, there's something very special about that compact retro body that we loved in our review. The X100V keeps what worked on the X100F, only tweaking what it needs to. There's now a tilting touchscreen, which we found very handy in testing, and a weather-resistant body, although you need to add a filter to the lens to get full weather sealing. The series fixed aperture lens setup has always been fantastic for street and portrait photography, and the results are only better now that Fujifilm's added a new 26.1 MP APS-C sensor paired with the latest X processor 4. Autofocus is faster, noise control better, and image quality improved. Sure, it's niche and certainly not cheap, but there's nothing else quite like it. Number 5. Canon EOS R10. It isn't the cheapest camera for beginners, but we think the Canon EOS R10 is the now best option for those starting their photographic journey. Spiritual successor to Canon's popular mid-range DSLRs, the EOS R10 has two standout skills: impressive subject tracking autofocus and speedy 15 fps shooting, which was previously unheard of at this price. Both of those combine nicely to make the EOS R10 a versatile little camera for shooting all kinds of subjects, from portraits to speeding pets and kids. During our autofocus testing, which we conducted on cats, deer, and a speedy cockapoodle, the R10 found and tracked the subject's eyes very well, with the 15 fps speeds producing a decent hit rate. While it isn't a compact camera, the EOS R10 is very lightweight at 429 grams and has a deep grip that makes it feel well balanced in the hand with all kinds of lenses. Unfortunately, the EOS R10 doesn't yet have many native lenses, just 2 at the time of writing, and lacks in-body image stabilization. But if you're happy to buy some of the many full-frame RF lenses that work well with the camera, or adapt old ones using an EF-EOS R adapter, then it's a versatile little sidekick that's ideal for fledgling snappers. Number 4. Nikon Z6i. The Nikon Z6 reigned as the king of this list for a long time, and while the Z6i is only a modest upgrade, it should definitely be on the short list of anyone who's looking for a full-frame camera. The Z6 continues to offer great value, but we think the Z6i is worth the extra cost if you can afford it. Our reviewing experience put it up there with our favorite mirrorless cameras. Its extra X-Speed 6 processor brings a host of improvements, including a new 14 fps mode, up from 12 fps on the Z6, and some handy autofocus boosts, particularly for animal eye/face detection. You also get an extra UHD card slot, which joins the existing XKD/CF Express slot, and a firmware update has delivered a new 4K/60p video mode. Covering a range of scenarios, our tests found that the 24MP full-frame PSI CMOS sensor performs well at high ISOs. The Z6i also has class-leading build quality that feels more substantial in the hand than its rivals. Number 3. Oman System Oman 1. Not everyone needs a full-frame camera, and like the Fujifilm X-T4, the Oman System Oman 1 harnesses the benefits of its smaller sensor to create a compelling alternative for photographers who prioritize size, versatility, and a fun handheld experience. Thanks to its new stacked Micro Four Thirds sensor, which is the first of its kind, and a speedy TruePix X processor, the Oman 1 performed admirably in most our tests. Quite simply, it's one of the most enjoyable cameras you can buy. We found that the Oman 1 performed well up to ISO 1600 and had slightly less aggressive noise reduction than its Olympus-made predecessors. Its computational modes are also the best you'll find outside a smartphone, with the likes of high-res shot, live ND, and in-camera focus stacking going some way to compensating for its smaller sensor. On the downside, its autofocus tracking isn't quite up to the level of Canon or Sony, and the controls can be a little fiddly. That 20MP resolution also isn't huge for a camera of this price. But if you can overlook those drawbacks, then the Oman 1 and its huge range of Micro Four Thirds lenses will make a fine companion. Number 2. Canon EOS R6. While the Canon EOS R5, see below, is overkill for most people, The EOS R6 is a more affordable full-frame alternative that is simply one of the best cameras for photography around. If you already own one of Canon's early mirrorless full-framers like the EOS R or any of its DSLRs, this is a more than worthy upgrade. Based on our review, the EOS R6 brings best-in-class autofocus, a superb in-body image stabilization system, and burst shooting powers that mark it out as a very fine camera for wildlife or sports photography. Despite its ability to shoot 4K/60p video, the EOS R6 lacks the option to record DCI 4K. In our tests, we also found it to have overheating limitations compared to video-focused rivals like the Sony A7 Side, making it better suited to stills photographers. But for photography, it's an excellent, if pricey, option. It delivers hugely impressive autofocus, handling, and features which make it one of the best options around for anyone who needs a full-frame camera. Number 1. Sony A7 IV. Following Sony's fantastic A7 II was never going to be easy, but the A7 IV is a worthy successor. Equipped with a new 33MP sensor that's solid for both stills and video, it's a compelling mirrorless option for hybrid shooters. In our review, we called it a brilliant blend of photographic power and video versatility. A price hike does mean it's no longer an entry-level full-frame camera like its forebear, but a Bian's XR processor powers solid performance that broadly justifies the extra expenditure. The A7 IV also benefits from Sony's class-leading autofocus skills, plus upgrades like 10-bit video support, and a seemingly endless buffer depth with a CF Express card. Our tests found this buffer to be more generous than most photographers will need, with image quality leaning more towards resolution and low-light performance. No hybrid camera comes without compromise. There is a heavy crop on 4K footage, and it isn't the simplest camera for beginners to use. The Canon EOS R6 also offers faster burst speeds for a similar price. But considering its powerful versatility and higher resolution, the Sony A7 IV deservedly takes our number 1 spot.